Jake, can you talk people through what a script means to a college football team? Because you've rehearsed these plays so many times.
So honestly, we had a couple different scripts. The main one that was team wide and offense wide is, if you're playing your game Saturday, you meet Friday night and your offensive coordinator gets in front of the whole offense and he says, here's our first 10 plays. Okay. So you have your first 10 plays scripted out. And typically you're trying to get your offense into a rhythm. So those are some of the plays you feel really, really confident about. Everyone knows your first 10 plays. If the drive goes great, you roll through it. If you don't get to those 10 plays, you're going to get to them eventually. You feel those are your best plays. Now, Trevor, I'm interested because, I heard some of this as well. This wasn't offense wide, but coordinators would go to your starting quarterback and some of your best players and say, what do you feel most comfortable with? Here's what I'm thinking. And you'd have a handful of plays that say, hey, this is what I want to call. This is what the quarterback's comfortable with based on practice this week and based on what he saw from the receivers, the tight ends, and running backs. And from there, you'd have another grouping of 8 or 10 plays. So it was kind of a twofold script. There's also a script coming out of half as well of maybe 8 to 12 plays. So there's a lot of, making it up and as you go and unscripted. But when you have the opportunity to script, there's certainly scripting going on.
Yeah, Jake, that's exactly what it's like. And being a quarterback, man, we got patted on the back. We got coddled. We got rocked. Everything had to feel nice and perfect. You guys had to stick your hand in the dirt and smash each other's heads and inside while we're over there wearing our cute little red jerseys, throwing the ball around. During the week leading up to – so everybody, if you don't know this, during fall camp before the season starts, you do what they call installs, right? Those installs are basically the foundation of your offense. Pretty simplistic, may put in a few trick plays here and there, but boom, once you start preparing for week one, not that all of that goes outside and goes out the window, but you start developing new plays that will attack the defense that you're playing. So you may be running a top 10 plays. Week 7, and you didn't run that play a single time during fall camp. So, yes, during the week, you'd have your top 10 plays. They'd be listed out prior to the first practice of the week. But if I would go out there as a quarterback and we'd rep one specific play a few times and I just didn't hit it or I didn't feel great about it or I didn't like the read, I would tell our offensive coordinator, hey, X that one. Are you sure? That's a really good play. Man, I don't feel comfortable running that. Exit. And it would be off the list. So, yes, Jake, to your point, those are your top 10 greatest plays. So if Quinn Ewers, back to the Alabama-Texas game, if Quinn Ewers isn't out there and absolutely dialed in and running plays to the best of his ability, maybe he didn't communicate well enough with his offensive coordinator, or maybe there's even a bigger issue than that because he definitely has a say in at least those top 10 plays come Saturday.
Or maybe Bama's just that good.
Or maybe Bama's
throw
that good.
I'll throw that on the table too.
That's right.
I'll throw it on the table.
No, I love that. That's the type of insight I want folks to get from Field of 12 After Dark. Make sure you check us out on the SiriusXM.
I love it too. I love it too.
We're seeing, because listen, I've been on that scout team, right? Like, you think about this. Think about the guy on the other side, right? I'm the guy on the other side where I'm like, okay, I know exactly what they're going to do today. They're going to do this, and I'm going to have to dive, like, as a strong safety, I'm going to dive in for the run fake so that I create that little void that's right there behind so they can hit the tight end behind me. And this is going to happen. It's going to work. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's but I'm used to that. And so when I watch college football, I see those things happen, but then the game starts in drive 3 when you have to start calling plays. You have to start designing. Trevor, look, you know what, Trevor, talk me through that. Because we got about 28 minutes left, 27 minutes left of this, and we're going to get to Michigan, we're going to get to Iowa, and we're going to get to our most disappointing teams. But talk me through what that change is like when you start to go off script, off perfect plays, and then you have to start calling plays. When the coach has to start calling plays.
Realistically, you depending on what team you play on, where you went to school, those types of things.
Sure.
You may have a really long list of plays going into a weekend, a playbook, if you will, a game plan. But you've really got your top 10 plays. your halftime plays, which most of the time are developed at half. And then you've got your situational plays, 2-minute drive, red zone plays, third and fourth and short, third down plays, right?
Third and long. Yeah.
Third and long, those types of things. And there's like 1 to 2, maybe 3, couple trick plays in each one of those categories. So let's say you bust through your top 10 or games going crazy, you get behind the chains. Your offensive coordinator is now really relying on the rest of the offensive staff that's calling out coverages and those types of things to call the rest of the game. Because you may have a plan. Hey, they were in cover 4 and they were rolling 3 strong all week on film, or the last 3 weeks, right? Well, now they come out and they're running a fire blitz off this side. They're going straight cover 1. Things look completely different. You got to change the game plan, and you got to adapt on the fly. It's tough to do, but great coordinators and great quarterbacks can communicate through that and make it really seamless for the rest of the team.
Phil, can I add to that, man? Because so as you go through the week, like you see these coordinators with these big play sheets and you're like, man, that's a lot to remember. But, you structure your week and you meet for an hour. You meet as an offense and you say, here's our run plays, here's our pass plays. And then you get rid of the offensive line. You meet again with your skill positions, tight ends, wide receivers, running backs. You say, here's our base down pass plays. And then the next day you go over situational, third down and red zone pass plays. And then on Friday, you might go over 2-minute and goal line pass and run plays. After each one of those meetings, you then go out and practice. You walk through those plays, then you practice those plays, then you watch film on those plays. So a good coordinator, you go in, and there was times where I'd be in the huddle and it'd be like trips right, Y off, Y counter. Fake purple 2 zoo Rudy, Y fork, F flat. And you're sitting there as soon as they say, it's 3rd and 7, and I hear trips right, Y off, Y counter. I could complete the play in my head because it's been rehearsed so many times throughout the week. We talk so much about the coaches changing, like head coaches, but I think like coordinators are so valuable. A head coach that doesn't call plays is a CEO. Your coordinator is then the head coach of the unit, and he's responsible of teaching the players the scheme. And another thing to consider here is in college football, you're working under NCAA rules. It's not NFL. You have 20 hours every week, and these kids got to go to class and study table, and they got a girlfriend and they got friends. So to have a coordinator that can take a complex concept, simplify it, teach it, put the right guys in the right place, and then the concept has to work to your strengths and against the opponent's weaknesses. Like, man, coordinators really can sway the success and failures of your team. So I just think it's such a big factor.
But you also have to have players that can take those plays and turn it into an easier process in their head, right? They got to be conceptual, not memorized plays. Excuse me, not memorized
100%.
words.
No, you're spot on.
So Jake, so Jake, you just talk about Y off. You're in a wing, right? You've got a little yo-yo motion where you get to put your foot in the ground and come back out. You mentioned Y purple or something, right? So there's probably some sort of play action and then a fork route. So you're probably running a corner. There's a post because you're running the fork, right? Like, I don't know your offense, but it's
you're literally spot on.
To conceptualize.
Is that crazy? Like, that's crazy because like the thing that all I think is you being in a wing, coming across, up, push out. Is that wrong?
Very close.
You're right. You're right. Okay, yeah. I come across the motion in a yo-yo, a counter motion.
You go in and then you go back out.
And what you're trying to do is get defenses adjust. So if I motion across the formation, hey, maybe that safety has to roll down and the opposing one has to go back. Maybe there's a linebacker check. So you counter motion to make them second guess their check. It's a way to gain a pre-snap edge.
Let me answer that from the quarterback standpoint.
I'm learning.
Man or zone.
Man or zone, right? It's a lot for I want to see what these guys are in. If they've got a guy running with his back out, it's probably man. Boom! Now we know we got the right play call. I know where I'm going. No doubt. It's a fun game, man. When you start thinking about it in kind of the cerebral side, it's freaking awesome.
That's
So
football.
Another thing, you talk about conceptualization of the offense. Whenever I talk to a young player, they're like, hey, if I'm the Y tight end or the F tight end, this is what I have. And I say, forget that. I never studied. I knew what everyone had on every pass concept. Because if I'm running Y fork, there's a post outside, I have the corner, and then there's a whip route, which is a flat control. If it's man to man, I can adjust my route accordingly. That corner isn't 10 yards to 25. I can break it off as an out route and run it flat. If it's zone, then I have to feel the flat defender. Okay, maybe I change my angle and it's 10 to 30. Maybe I change my angle and it is 10 to 25. But you can only play with that if you understand the concept, because understanding the concept, you're going to know how the defenders are going to react. And then you can get creative within the scheme. So like that's when, like, you know, there's a sheet. I say, don't be a football robot. Don't just run like what the sheet says. Have some fluidity, and then you're having real fun out there.
Mm-hmm. Well said. This is great.
Dude, we're living it right now.
I'm sweating.
You're talking, but like I think about this like as a safety, I know I've got to be over here, but if my corner's not sinking, then that space that you talked about, people are going to think that 10 to 30 feels like a big distance.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not a big distance, because if that corner can sink to 15 and I can run it at 25, then we've got you. There's nothing. But if that corner is going to, if that whip route, as you mentioned, if that whip route holds him down at 7, and then it's just you at 25 or 30, and it's just me up here, you got all this room to play around. And that's the part of football that I love. That's what I like. That's what I love about talking about with you guys, like talking about football with you guys, because it's, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's the part of football that I absolutely love. Like, it's like, you know, the actual football.
Oh, yeah. and by the way, whenever Jake did his little yo-yo motion, I realized it was zone. So I'm going to give my shoulders a little pump and my eyes to the flat.
So I'm going over the other way.
Yeah.
So I can make that safety be one-on-one.
I love
you know,
that, dude.
I want to just, for you as a safety too, is like, I honestly think football has a lot of parallels to math, specifically like leverage. And it's like, hey, there's 1 high and 2 high, and you hear that all the time. Why does that matter to define it? Well, if it's a 1 high coverage and it's cover 1 man, so you have 1 safety in the middle of the field, you know that these defenders have to have outside leverage. Why? Because they have to funnel the releases and the routes inside to their help in the middle of the field. If they take a risk and they bite on a release, and all of a sudden that inside slot guy is running a slot fade away from his help in the middle of the field, you're a dead man walking, you know? So
unless you're Earl Thomas.
Unless you're Earl Thomas, you know, and then the receiver might drop it because he thinks he's going to get decapitated anyways. But, you know, that's like, man, you kind of get this impression that football players are brutes, but man, like there's a certain intelligence that is required to play this game. And oftentimes the best players, like when you go to the NFL, like the all-time greats, their best trait is their mind in terms of how they play the game.
What's going on, guys? Rob Doster here, the founder of the Field of 68 and the Field of 12 Media Networks. I wanted to take a quick minute to let you guys know about an exciting new project that we have been working on for the last 3 months. The Almanac, an all-encompassing preview of the 2022-23 college basketball season. We spoke with every single Division I head coach to give you a robust and accurate preview for all 363 Division I college basketball teams. We have predictions for conference finishes for all 32 leagues. We have features on the best freshmen, the best big men, the breakout stars, the coaches on the hot seat, so much more. It is 600,000 words of sheer happiness for the college basketball fan in your life. The Almanac is going to be available for digital purchase on September 26th for just $19.99, but you can pre-order it today using the promo code HOOPS and save 20%. Just hit the link in the description below.